Hello YouTubers, just figured I'd show you this creek that I built by myself, 54 years old. Luckily I live in Ohio, so I have plenty of rocks. So depending on where you live, if you have an abundance of rocks and property to get rocks, you can do this relatively cheaply. I'll just give you a quick look before I talk. And it just looks like it's going underground right here for a reason. I'll let you. So, let's see if I can do this quick as possible. So basically what I did was, this all used to just be just a slope with grass. And what I did was just shoveled out 3 feet horizontally, got a level, make sure it was level. And then I did stairs. I did cut it down a little bit. Wherever I wanted the waterfalls, I just cut it down a little bit. We did stairs. And I made sure that I had bends in it. You don't want it just to be straight. So there's a big old curve here, there's a bend here. Just makes it look more natural. And then once I got that done, I got a cheap painter's plastic. First round, cheap plastic that painters use. You can get it real cheap, a huge piece from Lowe's in a roll. I laid that down, and then I just put rocks where I wanted the waterfalls to see how it looked. Let the water flow down. I got a 50-gallon drum that's in the ground there that they use to like cattle drink. I got it from Royal King. It's like a 50-gallon drum. It's in the ground there. It's an oval drum. And then once I knew the water was somewhat going the way I wanted it to, and like I said, I made sure it was always horizontal, and I made sure it was slightly sloping downward, so it wasn't backfilling. And then I put the tarp down. Like I said, I did about 3 feet wide, sides of the slope, not straight up, angled gradually outward, so you'd have room to put the rocks. I laid a tarp going up the slopes and, cut pieces. I used, there's different types of tarps. You can go from cheap to very expensive. I went kind of mid-range. I got a 15 by 20 reinforced PE pond lining. And I'll just go through everything that I got. I got the company is OYO Water. That's the palm pump I bought. I got a 3,900 gallon per minute, way overkill. I miscalculated. So you don't need one that big, depending on how much of a rise you have, because you have to compensate for how much lift, because the gallons per minute coming out of the top is not what the pond says if you have a lot of lift. Each foot, it lowers the gallons per minute. So I had to put in a flow valve to lower it a little bit because it was really raging. I didn't have to go that big, but OYO Water is the company. I got it on Amazon, and it's been running great for a little over a year now. I got some tight seal pond liner tape to tape the seams together, and I already told you about the 50-gallon drum. I even got a pond UV light. So every once in a while in the drum, I'll stick the UV light to kill germs and bacteria and stuff like that. I'll let it run in there for a couple hours, and then I'll just put it back and store it. Because my dogs like to drink out of this, so I just figured it would help a little bit to kill germs or whatever. So you can see there's algae starting to grow, which I love. It makes it looks more natural. And what I did was, once you get the pond liner down, start looking for like flat rocks to lay down on the pond liner. I even went one step further, is I cut a little piece the shape of the rock, the main rocks that I put down, just to put an extra liner. So there's no rough edges. It's supposed to be pretty puncture resistant, but just an extra safe step, I put another little piece underneath the big rocks. And then I got some river rock, which is smooth river rock. You don't want something with jagged edges. Sprinkle that all the way down. And then I start piling more rocks on top of that. So there's multiple layers of rocks. The water will find its own path. If you don't like the path it's taken, just move some more rocks around. Like this waterfall wasn't having enough of a water effect. So I just stuck a couple rocks there to narrow the channel. Every once in a while I'll have to clean dead leaves out of it, which I quite enjoy actually. I just got a 5-gallon drum, 5-gallon bucket, and I just pick out sticks and leaves out of it. I gotta do it again. Yeah, and that's it. And just pile up the rocks. I looked at some creek videos just to get some idea of what a natural creek looks like, even though I kind of have one, but it's not. I'll show you that in a minute. So I got some broken branches. I made this one look like it fell over it, and I got another piece look like it broke off, like it was in a storm. And there's stuff growing on it, awesome. Got some pine cones and pine needles from the property, because I got some pine trees laying around over here. Just got some big rocks. And I made it so, well, before I go any further, let me just show you. So here's where it goes in. It looks like it's going underground here. And I can move this to see how much water's in there. Pond pump's in there. I can remove these rocks and this whole piece comes up, so I can clean I have a mesh bag around the pond pump so big stuff doesn't ruin the impeller on it. And then under here, there's my flow valve. So I can adjust the water that's going up. Going up a 2-inch pipe all the way up. This is underground here. Coming up here, making a right-hand turn, and then it goes down into the middle of I just used what I had I had a small office plastic trash can. I cut a 4 or 5 inch wide on one side, cut it down like 4 or 5 inches, and I bent the plastic out. And I put a pond liner underneath the trash can, dropped the trash can in this big hole that I put here, and angled it, downward a little bit. And then it runs off that little plastic sleeve, and whatever doesn't, the pond liner catches, and that's it. That's all I need to do. It fills up the trash can, flows down, and that's it on that. Okay, so I'll show you the convergence between artificial and real. So you got this going here. Looks like it's going underground. And then my real one, which doesn't run all the time. That's the reason I built this other one. It only runs when it rains a lot. It comes out there. I think this place used to be a farm a long time ago, and the cattle used to drink from there. So it flows underneath the ground there in a pipe. So this is all real, natural. I got all these rocks and made this creek for this water because it was just, kind of muddy and stuff here, and I didn't want this huge tree to fall over, so I stopped the erosion process mostly. Look how cool this is. It comes out from underneath the tree, around the roots. Made a little waterfall there. Just piled up the rocks on the sides. Another little waterfall here. Got some rocks where it's going underneath like little tunnels. Got some more fake sticks. I made a little pond here for the dogs to lay in, but it just got too muddy. So I put a big rock in the middle so they stopped laying in it. It goes underneath my driveway. And I made a couple waterfalls on this side. Just one day I was bored. No pond liner or anything. Just moved some rocks around. How cool is that? And it just continues down, hangs right at the road, and leaves my property. Oh, one more thing. So due to evaporation and rocks absorbing the water or whatever, maybe a micro hole here or there, because I got two 60-pound dogs. I like to lay in the spring and drink the water. I got multiple layers of rocks. Plus I just kept that painter's plastic underneath it. I mean, it can't hurt, right? But I would have to fill this up once every, let me just get my illusion going again. I would have to fill this up, run a hose in this container every 3 days, maybe for 5 minutes. You know, it would go down a little bit. But I wanted to get it more automatic. So all I did, really cheap, I got a automatic sprinkler on off for hoses, and I have it set for 15 minutes every other day. Maybe in the summer 20 minutes every other day. Not a lot of water comes out. It's not like you're hooking a hose to it. I got this little piece of piping. It just goes underground here. It's got it lightly buried in the rocks. Comes up behind this rock, comes over here, and just sticks out underneath this rock right here. And it fills the pond up. You know, if it's really hot out, you might get a little more evaporation, whatever. You just keep an eye on it, and you just adjust it for what you need to keep it full. It doesn't go down that fast. And that's it. I hope that helps you. I hope I didn't forget anything. Obviously, you got to plug it in. You can run an extension cord, or you can call an electrician to get it done the right way. I live out in the country. I'm not going to tell you how I did it because I don't want anyone yelling at me, but that's it. And all these white flakes are, you got some blooming going on. So, got snow in the summer, or the spring actually. All right, I hope this helps. Bye-bye.